Hello, hello. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Welcome to the Abomination Goddess podcast. We're so happy to have you with us. As always, I have Casie Halseth. She is the author of Abomination Born. It is a fictional portrayal of her real life experiences with the mystical realms. Her action packed book is just full of lessons and insights and calls for other Abomination Born folks around the world to start connecting, which is one of the things that we do with our podcast. She is an award winning public speaker, and I think that you'll find by watching this podcast and by reading her books that she just effortlessly draws her audience into her world, both in her book and on the stage. So, welcome, Casie. I'm so happy to have you with me.
Thank you.
Okay, my name is Ashley Kim. I am the author of Villainera Goddess. It is a book that I wrote to help women on their journeys to set boundaries, build confidence, and just heal themselves. It is a very honest and open look at what I went through and the tools that I used to survive my villain era. I went through my journey alone, and I wrote this book so that you wouldn't have to go it alone on, your own journey. So I will be with you riding this crazy roller coaster together. You're welcome, everybody. Okay. I'm so happy to have you here. I've been having a lot of technical difficulties, and Casie has been so patient with me, but we are finally getting to record our podcast. So I am going to share my screen and we will go into show and tell, if that's okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Very excited.
Ooh, look at all these things.
Yeah. What do we want to get into first?
Oh, up to you.
Okay. Um, I can share, let's see, this How to Live with Dragons book by Carolyn Mitchell. I've been getting back into that one a little bit. Um, and one of the pages in there, so she has a section in there on how to connect with dragons just like throughout the year. And so she used the this calendar here, these holidays, and this reminded me of one of the very many things that I've been meaning to do, and this actually was kind of the catapult to force me into doing this, is I have been wanting to create my own journal of what happens in my life and in my backyard and in my home so that I can start keeping track. And so I want to do this for various reasons. Like first of all, I can never remember when I should harvest my lavender, just silly things like that. Or one of the things I'm really interested in now is lightning bugs and glowworms and how, like, when are they coming out, just things like that. So I've created this template. I'm going to start just filling it out every day. So for example, today was the first day that I started to see baby praying mantises in our backyard. And
Really?
I think they're so cool. And so in mine, I will be writing down in the insects that I'm starting to see those. And basically, I just want to start collecting a kind of diary or a journal of nature and life around myself. And, and I can start kind of keeping track of this. And I will be using it, first of all, to help my home be a habitat for animals, but then also I need to learn about my herbs, like when to harvest, when to plant, all of that stuff. The other thing I want to use this for is just tracking holidays, anniversaries, memories, things like that. I do like to follow, like, Samhain and winter solstice. I like following all of that, so I can put that in here. The other thing that I really like to do is there is a lady named Mandy M, and I've taken some of her classes. And one of the things that she talks about is the your body's own calendar and the memories that it holds. And that was very helpful to me. So, for example, my dad passed away in 2020, the day right after my birthday. And I was getting super sick every single year after that. I would get so sick I couldn't leave my bed. And she started talking about how our bodies remember things, and if we start paying attention to them, then we can get ahead of it. And so obviously your body can remember good things too, but this helped me because then it was this year I was like, "Oh, I'm ready. I'm going to be ready for this. I'm not going to get sick. I'm not going to hold any of that trauma." And it did really help me. So I'm going to use this calendar for things like that as well. Um,
That's a good idea.
yeah, thank you. And then I also wanted to keep track of moon phases, planets, anything spiritual. The moon phases, I think those are just good, to keep track of. And we'll talk about that a little later when we talk about new moon things. But then also I like keeping track of planets, and then even like when do we get to see meteor showers? Just things like that. Like I want to be able to, July 1st next year to open this up and see all of the cool things that I get to do or I get to watch for. So this is yeah, one of my big projects right now. And one of the things that I know we've talked about, Casie and I've talked about with other people, is I do want to have a glow and grow journal that I create, to go with my book. And so right now I'm kind of testing out like, okay, what else do I want in this journal? And so that's what I'm kind of using this for as well. So I will put the PDF out there in our newsletter for anyone who wants to try this too. And just give me feedback on how it goes for you. What did you love? What did you hate? What did you use, not use? What did you wish was on there? Um, so yeah, that's one of my big things I'm working on.
I love anything to do with calendars and keeping track
Yeah,
of things.
yeah,
I just that's that's me.
yeah. I do too. And even, like the tarot tracker that we have and things like that. Yeah, I can just see someday maybe all of it being together and just having, a notebook that everything is in there. Let's see. Oh, the other thing that I had is I put together, this is going to be my, and we can talk about this a little bit more later too, but this is going to be my new moon activity that I'm going to do. So it's in Cancer. And oh, I don't have my little books by me. But basically, what I'm going to do is, just do deep breathing, get into the moment. And then I purposely I wanted a goddess feel, and this is the only thing I could really find, but um, I'm going to write words in her body. And so what I'm doing is I'm using the new moon to be completely blank myself, and I'm going to fill myself back in with the words of things that I want in my life. And so I'm going to like physically write those words inside this body so that it's completely filled with really good things. And that is going to
Oh,
be my new moon.
that'll be neat.
Yeah. And I figure too, women, we hold our trauma in our hips and in our shoulders. And so I'm really going to focus on those areas too. And even if I write words over words and I can't even read them, at least I have those words on there that I want in my life. So, oh, and for those who are not watching and you are listening, it is a outline of a lady with long hair and she's naked and she's
It's
standing in a
Venus.
shell. Is that
Yeah,
Venus?
this
Okay.
is the Venus rising from the
Oh,
ocean.
okay.
Yes,
Thank
in her
you.
shell. Uh-huh.
Yeah. And then I did include the Cancer symbols and the star constellation as well on here, just to make it a little bit more Cancer focused, since that's our new moon. Um, yeah, so those are my things. Okay. So, all right, what do you want to start with?
Do you want to start with the Princess and the Pea?
Yes. Let's see.
We many of us know the story of the Princess and the Pea, and it's about they're trying to find if this whoever sleeps in this bed, they're trying to find if that person sleeping in the bed with multiple layers upon layers upon layers of mattresses, only a true princess would be irritated sleeping in that bed, even though it's the most comfortable bed in the world, if they slip a little pearl inside one of the mattresses way down at the bottom. And so the story goes where this girl, she's just tossing and turning and tossing and restless, and she can't sleep all night. And it's because she can feel the little pearl inside the mattress. And so then they realize that she is the true princess. And the reason this story speaks to me is we're you know, as we go around the cycle of the moon, every single month we go through these different layers. We our life is a bunch of different layers. We're a little bit of we take care of business at home, we run our families, we run our household, we do all these different layers, and we have our nights. And within moon cycle, my moon cycle, where I have a real difficult time sleeping and I'm tossing and turning, is just before the new moon and just before the full moon. On It takes about 3 days, to really move into the new moon, and about 3 days to really move into the full moon. The before and after. And so I just before these events, I have the tossing and turning, and that's what makes me think of the Princess and the Pea. So what it is there's something inside of me that is trying to come forward. Something, like a something hidden in me that's saying, uh, uh, "Look at me.
Yeah.
You've forgotten a part of me. It's calling me to wake up."
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Oh,
I've always loved the story of the Princess and the Pea, and now I
mm-hmm,
realize what it's all about. It's
mm-hmm,
trying to wake us up to something we've forgotten within ourselves.
mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that so much. And I've never thought about the story in that way before.
Yeah, yes. And there's so many, not only there's mattresses upon mattress upon mattress, they not only represent all the things that we are, but it also represents all the layers. Each one of those layers is a different frequency. So we
Oh,
have all these different frequencies that we deal with. So like when we do our meditations, we're in one frequency. We've moved into another level. And
mhm.
when we go down, uh, when we're dealing with mundane kind of things, our frequency changes and we become part of whatever we're doing. And so those are also represented by all the different mattresses. And so one time that P might be in a lower layer. So there is a hidden truth. There's something wonderful that we need to realize at all the different frequencies that we find ourselves in.
Mhm. Yeah, I like that. I think the other thing I really like about this is that remembering the layers and the frequencies. And if you are feeling restless, it's not necessarily one dimensional. You might need to do some looking around, see
Yeah,
where it
there's
is.
something trying to wake us up to something that we are missing about ourselves.
Yeah.
And it's because we are this princess inside. We are this special thing. So we've
Mhm.
we've approached that level of ourself without seeing the beauty of it.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, I
And
love
so
the
would
story of
you,
the Princess and the Pea.
yes, would you use tarot, or what would you use to kind of start figuring that out?
Well, everyone will have their own special way, I'm sure. For myself, of course, I'll ask a stone to guide
Mhm.
me, or I'll go to the tarot cards. Sometimes, well, of course, that's stones again, but I'll find some jewelry that I just have to wear this today.
Yeah, yes.
Okay, so you know how we've talked about copper and how we were so attracted to copper and needed it, and it turns out that just doing these podcasts and putting out all this spiritual information on to the world, what it does is it depletes a little bit of our copper, so then we're drawn to copper to help us to replenish it.
Hmm.
Well, it's the same thing. So what is it that I need? And that little pearl has been hidden somewhere. And
Hmm.
it could be, some people have guides that help them out, so they're the one that stuck that pearl in between that mattress level, or somebody has put that in there to find out. And then everybody is watching, like the whole universe of universes, they're all watching to see, well, how is she going to handle this? Is she
Yeah.
going to pay attention, or is she going to storm off?
Right.
Is she going to really look at what it is? and in the story, you know, she goes in and she digs the thing out and she finds it. So
Yeah, I like that.
are we the one who just keeps tossing and tossing and doesn't look at it, or
Hmm.
are we the one who climbs down off the bed and digs until we find it and look at it, and then when we see this beautiful pearl that we pull out, it's like, oh my gosh, you know, this is this thing has been making me toss and turn all night, and yet it's a beautiful, wonderful thing.
Yeah, it's a treasure.
Hmm. And so then it becomes part of you. Remember, we were saying the other time about how I take a when I read a crystal ball of some sort, I make it go into my head.
Hmm.
And same with whatever we find in our mattress, whatever keeps us up, we bring it into ourselves because it belongs to us. It's ours.
Yeah.
It's who we are.
Ooh, I like that. I like that analogy so much. Ooh, yeah, there's goosebumps from that. Very good.
Yeah, this was a story written by Hans Christian Andersen a long time ago. And,
Okay.
you know, a lot of the fairy tales they have, uh, you know, and of course, this was a fairy tale before he wrote it too. He took stories that had been told for generations and he really put them together so that they could be remembered forever.
Yeah, we love storytellers.
And then look at go the picture. That's my grandma's picture right there. My
Yeah.
sister Carol is an artist, Carol Crumrine, and she drew this from memory of my grandma.
What?
And
From
yeah,
memory? Oh,
hmm.
wow.
And grandma was a Hungarian woman born in 1903, and she was born in the United States, but they sent her back to Hungary to be raised the old way by her grandmother and her great aunt. Um, so she came back to the United States in when she was 18,
Okay.
and then lived out west in Wyoming. One of the things that, you know, we're talking about the moon cycles this time. So grandma represents the crone,
Mhm.
and I'm in the crone phase too. And we go through this time. So same with the princess and the pea. Um, we go through these different cycles, and the before we can begin the new moon, we need to appreciate the crone cycle, which is the cycle just before the new moon. And within ourself, we begin to look at what have I learned that I need to hold on to, or what do I need to get rid of? Just like the princess and the pea, you know, we go through that cycle where we're getting rid of all kinds of stuff and really looking at things. And the crone cycle is past menopause, so
Mhm.
it's past hormones. So each one of us, every single month, we we go through this crone phase where
Mhm.
we're past everything, and we try to see ourselves as we are without the influence of the body, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
and and who are we then? So we
Mhm.
look at who are we and what do we like about ourselves, because the next phase we begin to build ourselves back up again. And what didn't we like? What do we like? What works?
Yeah.
What doesn't work?
Right. I like that. I had never thought about it as viewing it as who are we without our body.
Right.
And it makes me realize how much I pay attention to my body, or like how much I allow that to hold me back, especially being in perimenopause. I feel like I'm on this roller coaster.
Right.
Um, of yeah, not I mean, I don't separate myself, and I do need to do that. And yeah, that really
So
clicked in my brain.
okay, so you've got 8 phases to the moon. Um, so we're going into this is the new moon now. So we begin as like the baby phase,
Mm-hmm.
and with the new moon. So during the baby phase of the moon, so we've got 3 full days of the new moon. And so might be time to have some baby kind of food, maybe licky food, ice cream,
Yeah.
and only put things on your skin that would be safe enough for a baby. I mean, really, be gentle with ourselves
Mm-hmm.
like you would with a baby.
Yeah.
And then the next phase of the moon is the waxing moon, and that's where it's beginning to head towards full. And so I look at that as that's the toddler stage
Mm-hmm.
of the moon. And so you
Yeah.
know how the terrible twos are,
Yep.
and the toddler is exploring and trying everything and tasting everything and touching everything. So
Yes.
there, give yourself 3 days every month of trying new things, testing it out. Do I like this? Don't I like this?
Mm-hmm.
Just pretend like you're a toddler. And then
Yeah.
also, I always go with the food thing. During the toddler phase, what are foods that toddlers like?
Mhm.
Treat yourself to something that is kind of toddler oriented,
Yeah.
and to help you realize that you're going, the moon phase is helping you every month. You have 13 times a year we go through these phases. And then
Yeah.
the next one is the first quarter moon.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's when you're young, um, like school age.
Mm-hmm.
And so in school, that's maybe give yourself a chance to really study something,
Yeah.
and study something you absolutely don't know, because when you're going to school, you're learning things that you absolutely do not know, and you're not even interested in them really. I mean,
Yeah.
who's interested in math? I mean,
Yeah.
maybe somebody is, but you know,
Yeah. I would
I
say
didn't
that's
understand
also,
why I had to learn it.
I know, and I didn't want to. I
Yeah.
think that school phase too is when kids start to get their real personalities and they start
Yes.
to make their own decisions on this is what people are telling me, but I'm going to decide if that's right for me, like my
Yes.
values and, who I am. So, yeah.
Yes. And what do kids like to do, during that time? So you got maybe 3 days, with your calendar thing you're talking about putting together.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what would be some things that a kid would like? Maybe listen to some kind of music or something, or what are kids like? Um,
Yeah.
put on some tennis shoes instead of your regular shoes, or something. Help you to realize that you're going through this moon phase. And then the
Yeah.
next phase is the waxing gibbous moon, and that's where a young girl begins to have her period.
Mhm.
And young men, the hormones start to kick in,
Yep.
and it can be quite confusing.
Yeah.
uh, and so then I go back to being very gentle with yourself during this time, and realize that you might be sensitive, so maybe shut down a little bit. Don't.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the next phase is the full moon, and that's where you've become a full woman, and
Mm.
you've finally grown up, and let's say you're in your young 20s, and you've become a woman.
Mhm.
And during that time, um, with your calendar, maybe uh, wear clothes that make you feel like a woman.
Yeah. Yeah.
Make you feel really good. And
Yeah.
then do things that help you to realize that you're a full woman. So each one of these are like the mattresses of the Princess of the Pea, each one of our
Yeah.
phases.
Yeah.
And then the waning gibbous moon comes next, and that's the women that are going through the menopause. And how we go the heat. My mom used to always say that the body was burning off, cauterizing everything in us that made it so that we could have children. So it was gently every month, just gently burning that off, so that we could shut it down,
Mhm.
carefully shut it down without injuring ourselves. And uh, boy, I tell you, there were days that I really thought there was fire in me,
Oh, oh my goodness.
actual
Yeah.
flame.
Yep. Yes. In my
So
body, coming out of my eyes.
yes, yes, yes. So so that's the waning gibbous moon, and so after the full moon, you're starting to let go of things. So the full moon is starting to let go. So that's one of the mattress levels. And be nice to yourself during that time. Maybe have something cold. Remind yourself to eat some, even if like me, I'm long past the menopause, so I don't have the hot flashes anymore, but I do need to look at what do I need to burn off in myself that needs to come off of me. What have I picked up, or what did I have before that doesn't work? What can I burn off?
Yeah.
And the next phase is the where the menopause ends. And
Mhm.
all of a sudden here and that's where like, holy buckets, what do I do with myself? you know I've a person has always done everything for everybody else, and um pretty soon everything changes.
Mhm.
And then the last is the crone, and that's the waning crescent or balsamic moon,
Mhm.
and that's my grandma there at the crone. And so at that time is the time to help somebody realize that they have a pearl in their mattress, and that's what's causing them to be restless, and helping people to realize that they're restless because there's a little pearl on one of their levels that they need to awaken, and go in and grab it and bring it into their body, and begin to use that pearl.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. And it seems like such a good time to just honor what we've learned too. Like what have you learned, in that last cycle? Because a crone is an excellent teacher, right? She's been through everything. She sees every pattern, she sees through everyone's lies, like everything. But speaking of like moon, the moon cycles and stuff, that is a good time to also just look back at what we've learned ourselves and how can we honor it and use it. And yeah.
And we go through this every month.
Yeah.
Every time the moon goes through its cycle, and like clockwork, I'm tossing and turning before the new moon, and tossing and turning before the full moon. I just know it. You could write that in your little calendar. Oh yeah, I
Yes.
couldn't sleep last night. And then that's how I recognized my cycles, was because of my calendars that I would do over the years. And it's
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, I can be prepared. So I would schedule myself so I would have an easier day,
Mhm.
um, on the new moon days and on the full moon days. I would schedule myself with the least amount of work that I could get done, because I
Yeah.
knew that I wouldn't be sleeping much the night before.
Yeah, that is an excellent idea. That's something that I own my own business and I've been really looking at how do I run my business around those moon phases so that I can give myself allowances, when I need to and, things like that. And I'm not there yet at all, but it's at the like beginning phase where I'm starting to kind of think about, okay, what would I do for myself to help myself in those areas? Yeah, I just looking at like the old farmer's almanac and things like that, so many things are based on the moon, Of course, all these other things should be too. So I yeah, this is excellent. And I love how you described all those moon phases. Um, that is so helpful. And like you said, we get 13 chances a year. That's huge.
Yes, yes. And like you know, I have little or no interest in cleaning house or doing anything like that, especially now that I'm way past menopause. Uh,
Mhm.
uh, so I don't have that nesting hormone in me,
Mhm.
but I give myself the time during the waxing gibbous moon, the full moon, and the waning gibbous moon. So that's all around, the phase. So like just before the full moon, and then
Mhm.
after the full moon, that's the time that I that I will be the woman of the house and participate in, doing things that need to be done more. And so the other days when I'm not in the mood to do anything, uh, I'm real gentle on myself because it's like, oh, well, I'm in my baby phase, or I'm in my toddler phase, or, school age phase, or something like that. And so
Yeah,
I give myself a chance to, mm, be okay with not doing things. So I just do the bare minimum every day, but then I will go in and do an overhaul during the middle, during that
yeah.
middle time. The full moon to me is like in the middle. I look at it as, because it begins at the new moon.
Mhm.
So I see and it comes all the way around.
Yeah, I like that. It is helpful. And I like, yeah, just the idea of being gentle with ourselves. I was reading about how like women are run with the moon and men are run based off of the sun. And so their hormone cycles are daily, whereas ours are monthly. And so it's the fact
Oh,
that they will go through everything we've gone through in a month in one day. And so we have to keep that in mind. Like we cannot compare ourselves to them. We cannot try to mimic what they're doing because our bodies literally won't let us, and we do have to be gentle of our phases are longer, and that can be a good thing if you understand it and if you look at it that way. And so I thought it was so interesting, and the idea of being gentle with myself because my phases are different or longer, so like maybe I'm not cleaning for 3 days, but then I am for 3 days later, or whatever it is. Yeah, so it was so interesting to me to read about that.
yeah, yeah. And men are different. They are. I would say that they are like they follow with the sun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yes. Yeah, I've been deep diving into that lately. One of the many things. Oh, right. Okay. All right. Thank you for visiting us today, Grandma. Um,
Yeah.
glad
Her
to
name,
see.
her we called her Grandma Wolf. Her last name was Wolf.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. I love that. Grandma Wolf. Okay. Let's see here. What do we got? Looks like
Oh,
a
I got quite a bit of information from this book, The Spiral Dance. It was written probably about 20 years ago. It's very good.
really.
Starhawk wrote it.
Oh, okay. This,
I
yeah.
like rereading things. I'd read this before. As a matter of fact, um, I'd given the book away, and now I have it, and then I bought another one, so I have two more. It's one of those kind of books.
Oh, I do stuff like that too. Oh, very cool. Um, is this screenshot from, or is this from that book?
Yeah, that's from that
Okay.
book. Yeah. Let's see, what do I have on that? Um,
Oh,
there was something there. Oh, yeah. It says the wisdom of evolution stored in every cell of your body. And so this is why we look at, with all the phases that we go through, uh, even though, I'm an older woman, I still have a little baby inside me. There's a part of me. So that's the wisdom of the evolution. So the baby inside me is still there, and that the toddler is inside me still.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
uh,
I like that.
and know your own power to end, to lose as well as gain, to destroy what is stagnant and decayed. And what that's saying to me is, uh, if there's something that I'm trying to deal with, I'm supposed to know uh, how to handle it within myself. But maybe the phase of the moon that I'm in at that time, I might be in the baby phase of the moon, and
Mhm,
the baby doesn't know how to do that. So sometimes I have to wait until the crone stage of the
mhm,
moon cycle to be able to address a problem.
Yeah.
So like what you're doing with your calendar, it's so interesting that you're doing this calendar, because with your calendar, you could even say, well, like on the on the 21st or on of the such and such a day, you'll know that the moon will be in this kind of a phase where you're going to be more of in an adult frame of mind.
Yeah.
I will look at that problem. I will readdress that problem at that time,
Yes.
because there are times that I'm definitely acting like a child.
Mhm.
I'm acting like a little school kid.
Yeah.
I'm not acting like an adult.
Yeah.
There's it's all those phases are inside me at all time. They're all my mattresses. The
Yeah.
mattresses are under me, and
Yeah. No, I love
so
that.
yeah. So which mattress am I able to dig into to find what it is that's keeping me awake?
Yeah. No. Yeah,
I
I
hope
love
I'm making sense. It makes sense to me.
no, it makes total sense to me. And I love how our conversations just blend together what we're both learning. Because I was reading about changing up meditation and kind of like almost like meditating at an altar of yourself, and you honor each phase of yourself. So the baby, the toddler, the young, the young school girl, the teenager, and you just keep, but you basically, you kind of, you honor all those phases and you act like it's an altar where you really do hold them in like high regard to yourself in a way that helps you accept all these aspects of yourself. And then you start actually learning from yourself, because instead of hating those things about yourself, you're lifting them up on a pedestal in front of you. um, and I have been reading a little bit more about that, but what you're saying to me makes perfect sense, because like you said, they are inside of us. All of that is in us. And then getting to tie that together with the moon phases almost organizes it a little bit more for me, for
Yes.
my brain. And it makes it a little bit easier to navigate it. So yes, to me, this all makes sense. Like this is exactly what I need. This is perfect.
Well, yeah, and like, okay, so there's going to be times during the month where when I am faced with a problem of some sort, the first thing I want to do is just break down and cry.
Yes.
And when that happens, I know I'm in the baby phase of the
Yeah.
month. It's
Yes.
coming. It's coming. And
Yes.
if I want to stomp my feet, I know that I'm probably in that phase of the month where I'm the toddler.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
See
Exactly.
all these different things, and some of them were, you know, if I want to control a situation, and I might want to do it by trying to be alluring or something like that, then I know
Yeah.
I'm in that full woman phase,
Right.
and so it helps me to see where I am or what mattress I'm addressing. So there's a pearl in each one of the levels. So let's say there's eight mattresses. So there's a pearl in each one of them, and sometimes that pearl works its way to the surface of the mattress to where I feel it, and that's when I can't sleep. And that'll usually happen for me. For me, it happens uh, before the new moon, so it just happened, and it'll happen just before the full moon.
Yes. Yeah. And I think I do. I'm a little bit, I do get sleepless as well. In the new moon, it's more of like a almost like an excitement, anxiety, sleeplessness. And then in the full moon, it's almost like a grieving sleeplessness, if that makes sense. And so I don't know why. That's just something that I have to start looking into, but it's like a sadness kind of a thing. And so, and I
Yes.
don't know, I
Yes.
have no idea why. Yeah.
So, and that's where, like you were saying, well, what would we do? And that's where we could take the tarot cards or oracle cards, or uh, it could be something that you might journal about. A person might, yeah. For me, I've always liked to journal, and I've always liked to do the stones.
Yeah.
Um, and I will be attracted to certain things. Like sometimes I'll be attracted to water and sometimes to earth. And sometimes just the weather outside. If the wind is coming, I know that it just it helps me out.
Mhm.
And then I'll look at like, what does wind mean? You know, and in the tarot, for me, the tarot is the swords section. So it means I'm not at the beginning. I'm kind of in I've worked through some things. I've worked through some emotions, and now I'm maybe thinking too much, or maybe I need to think some more. I haven't thought enough, depending. So I use the elements. What I will pay attention to what I'm attracted to or what I'm thinking about, what mattress level.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. I've been so, since we've been doing our podcast, I've been trying to pay a lot more attention to everything. And since last week, and we went through those different forms of divination methods, and I don't know, I had like an epiphany because you were talking about that your grandma used a bunch of those, and before our podcast, I was thinking not everything could be a sign. But then after our podcast, I completely switched it to that's not true at all. Like we can be communicating all the time. We just have to open our eyes to, open our eyes with divination in mind, and we can start seeing more communication around us. So it just completely switched my entire mindset, which was so helpful for me. And it has allowed me to really appreciate viewing the things around me of what is the wind doing? What are the plants doing? The insects, the animal, like what birds are flying around me, all of it. And I'm not saying that it all has to mean something, but there's no reason why I can't take a moment and see if it does, like why not? There's there's no rule that says you get one form of divination one time a day where the universe can speak to you. Like that is so stupid. And I don't know why that was my mindset before our podcast. But then when you were talking about what your grandma did, I'm like, that's what she was doing. She just had her brain open the entire time, waiting for information. Yeah, anyway, so I thank you for that because that helped me so much.
Yeah, it's true. And like what you're working on, putting together this kind of calendar, uh, that can really be helpful because the every month we go through all these different things, and maybe there's a certain time of the month or a certain mattress that you just seem to be noticing birds all of a sudden. I mean, for like 3 days,
Yeah,
what's with all the birds?
yeah,
And birds, of course, has to do with thought and messages.
yes. Yeah, and I'll even go through a phase where I think I've said this before, where I'm stepping on coins all the time. And so it started
Oh,
again. And it's only, it might be like 4 days where that's happening, but I wasn't writing that down anywhere. I wasn't keeping track of that. But it kind of excites me to keep track of that with the moon phases as well and kind of see yeah, if I get patterns out of that. And I know I will.
yeah, yeah.
It's fun. I love it. Okay, so talking about moon phases, we have about 10 minutes left. Um, we are in new moon, and I yeah, I thought we could talk just real quick on is there anything you're doing? I did show my little activities I'm doing where I'm gonna write inside that the goddess's body, and I'll probably free journal. But yeah, is there anything that you're doing or
Oh, for new moon.
yeah, for new
Okay,
moon?
well, baby. Okay, this is new. Okay, so I made pudding.
Oh, yeah.
I've got some jello and some pudding, and I will be extremely gentle with myself because and then also my skin during the new moon, I my skin is just like baby skin. I have to be very, very, very gentle with my skin. And I had used something on my skin the other day, and that was fine then, but all of a sudden now it hurts my skin. And it's because, oh yeah, that's right, we're in the new moon. We're
Mhm.
moving into the new moon phase. So I
Yeah.
have to be I have to it can, like my body can take things for just so long, but then it has to have a break. And so during the 3 days or so of the new moon, I will try my best not to use things that could possibly be, you know, hard on my skin. I have so
Oh,
many allergies.
I just do. Oh, me too. You know what's funny you saying that is it was yesterday I was spraying on my perfume that I love. And I had the thought of I shouldn't be spraying this on myself. Like I don't know what's in this. I don't know what's I'm putting on my skin. And I like you putting that together, why would I just suddenly have that thought? And I did put it on again this morning, but I had the same thought again of
Yes,
is okay to be putting on my skin?
yes.
So yeah, maybe I'll just take a break from that until
Yeah,
the
for 3 days, maybe 3 days a month, just
yeah,
be
because I
more,
would never spray that on baby ever. I wouldn't
yeah,
spray it on myself either. Yeah.
yeah. What would you do on a baby skin? Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Oh, that is
But
yeah.
yeah, I'm extra gentle on myself right now, uh, because I'm in the baby phase.
Yeah. Yep. And what a good time to ask for help, if you need it to. I think that's probably one of my big things I'm learning right now with all of my technical issues I've been having is um, it's time to call in someone who knows what they're doing and ask for help.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, I was going to show too. So the Farmer's Almanac, it has the moon phases and all of that kind of stuff. And towards the back, for anyone who's not um, used the Farmer's Almanac before, but it has like the best days to do things. Um, and in July, the best day to start a new project in July is the 25th, which aligns with new moon energy. So of course that makes sense. So I just thought that was just, affirming for what we're talking about that yeah, new moon is a fresh start and you're growing something, as a baby, you're going to grow it and make it bigger.
Yeah, and not to think it, that we started, it should be successful right away. Well, it's not. Yeah,
Oh yeah, babies aren't coming out walking and talking and
no.
filing taxes like no.
And just like, they say with the butterfly, if you help a butterfly coming out of its chrysalis, if you help them, it'll damage them. They need to struggle and they need to flap their wings and stuff without help, because whatever you help them, then that won't develop in them. So during our baby phase, we need to make mistakes. We need what looks like mistakes, but it's not. We're struggling. We're trying. We're moving around, and
Yeah,
exploring in our little tiny way. And then toddler, of course, we expand our world just a little bit more.
yeah. I think that's a good reminder. And the nice thing too about that baby toddler kid stage is when you honor that, the mistakes that you make with those are usually a little bit smaller. When you don't honor it, the mistakes are bigger later down the line. And so I do think that is such a good thing to keep in mind of you're gonna the struggles never go away, they're just different. And how you honor and accept and find help for those struggles are going to be different based on those phases too. And that's like the biggest lesson probably for me is that I can't take a crone solution to a baby problem. Like it just doesn't work that way. I have to do a baby solution to a baby problem. Um, yeah. So yeah, I love this. Putting the moon phases as human lifespan or development is just extremely helpful.
Well, I had never, I've always used the moon phases for myself and
Mhm.
how I approach work or how I approach anything.
Yeah,
I've always done that. But when I went to Friday Gladhart's class on the moon phases and she talked about using it for business, I would look at how I approach business or how I would do something in the business, but I never looked at it as the business itself having moon phases.
yeah,
I don't know why I never put that together
yeah.
until she talked about that. And why that has been wonderful because with a bit, it has its own life. The business, it's, whatever any enterprise a person does or any project that they're working on, it has its own life. So it goes through its own moon phase things too. So during the new moon, all businesses and everything kind of, it needs to be babied a little bit. That's
Yeah,
maybe the time to, pamper it, give it a little extra pat, be
yeah,
kind to the business,
yep,
even though it doesn't really need it. Maybe just because, let it know that you like the business.
yeah, yeah. And I would say it does need it because I think that when you get further in the cycle, you're going to realize, oh, I should have been patting it on the head and loving it more because that would have required more time spent in certain areas that you might have been ignoring that are going to flare up later of like, oh, should have paid attention to me. Here's the issue.
That's right.
Yeah, yeah, I love
Yeah.
that. All of that. Another book that I like, it's called The Witch's Way or The Witch's Way to Wealth. I don't know if you can see
Oh,
it. I'm trying to hold it up without
I
it.
do. Yes. Uh-huh.
By Jessie De Silva.
Yeah.
And she talks about that too of your business, running your business with the moon phases and to also pay attention to if you want to the astrology signs. And so for example, our new moon coming up is in Cancer. And so she said that's a good time to focus on family life, nurturing emotions, healing reflections, and fertility. And fertility can be your business, not just, making babies. But as you set your goals, like start thinking about things that way this time of year. But I found that helpful as well too, because I think as a business owner, especially, sometimes you do just kind of feel like you're floundering. And so it's kind of nice to be like, okay, I can look at the moon phase, I can look at the astrology sign. It gives me somewhere to start focusing. And then once I have that, then I can take off to where I need to go. So yeah, I love all this. Yeah, it's just so fascinating.
It is, isn't it? It's because we're part of the world, and our businesses are part of the world. You and I are both writers, and so our writing is part of the world.
Yeah,
Everything.
yeah, definitely. Yes. And even, business, I have clients and I help them with digital marketing, but even that has a full life cycle to it, everyone changes, everyone morphs out of something different. And so I would have a client for maybe like 3 or 4 years, and then they would be, they would not need me anymore. And I used to get really sad until I started to see the patterns. I was like, oh, I just spent 4 years teaching them like, these super well, I defined basic, but it wasn't for them. But I spent so long teaching them that they were able to take over some of the aspects and actually did it better because when you're inside of your own business doing things, it is better than having someone on the outside try to do it for you. And so I started to see it as kind of like a celebration of look how far I helped them get. And instead of being sad about missing out on what I was doing in the past, I would let it go. And then I would allow new opportunities to regrow with these clients. Um, and it has been, yeah, very helpful to me. And so just us talking about it now is like, oh my gosh, I'm going to start relating all of that to the moon phases as well and start paying a little bit more attention to that. Because yeah, everything's in a cycle. Like, and I think, we're seeing this with the world. You can't just keep take, build, build, build. You can't do it. Eventually it ends, and that's not a bad thing. It just means that that's getting recycled into something new for you. Which is, yeah, it's the reminder that I need from time to time. Thank you, Moon. Thank you. Anything else you're doing for the new moon or anything else you want to talk about on our podcast today?
Well, just a reminder that you know how we talk about everything going around in a spiral, and then we go back again. So
Mhm.
think of it as going around. Uh, for each moon phase, you're kind of going around. There's a little squiggle for each step of the moon as you go around,
Yeah.
and then go up to the next level as the next year go, squiggle around. And
Yes.
so each time we go up and we go up and we go up, but within the moon, we have time to explore all these different aspects of ourselves, or look at all the different mattresses that we're laying on,
Oh, yep. Oh,
and
wow.
find the pearl within each one of the phases. Find the pearl.
Yep. Yes. And like you were saying too, you can roll around and be uncomfortable and maybe complain about that pearl being in your mattress, or you can start digging for it and finding it and yeah, seeing that you have a real gem on your hands.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I love that. Awesome. Okay. Well, everybody, thank you for joining us today and happy new moon. We are, yeah, we love our podcast. I love our podcast. I love speaking with you.
I do too.
And we have guests coming up. We have so many guests coming up on the podcast. So,
Yes, yes.
yeah, keep watching, and you are going to be so excited with who we have on. There, we have some authors. We have, they're all entrepreneurs, and we have,
A
yeah, I don't
tea
want
reader.
to, yes, which I'm so excited about. Yeah, everyone's going to learn so much. I'm going to learn so much. It's going to be good. Okay, awesome. All right, I hope everybody has a wonderful Wednesday, and I hope the rest of your week is fantastic.
Bye.